Right, welcome back to the channel. This is another one. So I'm going to do the Nice Guy series again now. This is going to be episode 38, which is basically recreating the family's dynamics. Um, Essentially, so what does this mean? Essentially, this means like we create relationships that mimic our dysfunctional childhood relationships. We often choose partners who have similar traits as our parents or families. So if we were brought up caretaking, or if you thought you could get your needs met only after everyone else, basically in caretaking, you can get your needs met only after everyone else, and even an angry, controlling parent or parents, high schools will often go look for those traits in their partners, and this is all done unconsciously, right? You don't consciously think about doing this. So if the partner of a nice guy is not similar to his childhood dynamics, he will try to make them fit into that box, to fit into that way that he needs her to be. Um, so we project our problems or our insecurities on our wives or LTRs. Um, and that's like even when they don't do the things we are projecting on them. So essentially, what this does is this creates a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Or scenario, not necessarily prophecy, but scenario. And because you're trying to force them into this box, eventually it becomes because, like, for example, you come home, you charge for a fight because you're under the family dynamic that your wife is always angry and you have to walk on eggshells around her. Meanwhile, she could be in a good mood, but because you came home charged with that energy, right? That energy that you're portraying, because you can pick it up on the unconscious cues, or should I say, like the body language of a person, kind of sends those signals. So you come home charged for a fight, and the way that you act and you project is that everything is a possible fight, and then like this puts your wife or your partner or whatever in a position where that eventually leads to a fight or whatever the problem is. You charge her up until it eventually explodes, and then you have that self-fulfilling scenario. So another example, one of my examples, right? So the way I used to set up this self-fulfilling scenario is by doing things that would put my wife in the bad mood, so that I would say like, oh, she is always angry. I'm not completely out of this, but at least now I know I'm aware of what I'm doing. So, like, for example, my wife doesn't like to be touched when she's doing something or is like really focused on something. For example, cooking. She's cooking. Don't come near her. Don't come try joke with her or whatever or tickle. She does not like it. She hates it. So if I come and I hug her or I stand too close while she's cooking, she's now learned to like tell me to go away. But I most likely act ignorant or ignore this, and I continue until she finally explodes, and like the self-fulfilling scenario, boom, she's angry at me. It was, as I said, this was before I was aware that I was doing this, and have obviously become aware now. However, I still do it most of the time, um, but now I know I deserve it. So, and I do explain when she gets upset that if sometimes if I don't explode back, right? I'm like I said, I make it the issue, right? I know it. I've acknowledged that. I've said it out loud too. I've said it as well. Like I know, okay, I did it. So, but it's also become so automatic, so ingrained that I just do it. I won't say it's so ingrained. I do enjoy joking stuff while she's cooking, but I know she doesn't. So it recreates that. I also like try to recreate the family dynamics I had with my mother. As I could ask my mother. I think I did in a previous episode. Well, I did do in a previous episode. I could ask my mother to do almost anything for me. I had a very close relationship. So, so I could ask my mother, and then so what I did is I was basically replacing my mother with my wife, right? So I'd ask her to handle everything, like the planning of going somewhere or whether we should do something or not. Maybe if she can do documents for me without me doing anything. There's a difference between help and just you know getting them to do everything for you. And obviously, who knew? It just does not put you in the best spots, especially as a man. Um, you should be the one planning. You should be the one handling everything in a sense. Um, if you want to create that great dynamic, masculine, feminine dynamic, and if you want to have a more fulfilling relationship, in my opinion, from what I've experienced. So, and as it doesn't put us in the best spot. I don't do it as often as I used to because I still catch myself doing it, and then I have to go back. I have to pause, just breathe. Like, okay, I'm giving this to you for what? Like, is it for help or is it just because I'm lazy and I don't want to do it? And then I'll go back and correct it. I'll take it. I'll do it myself, or I'll plan the event, or I'll choose what we will eat, or whatever it is, in whatever scenario. Um, because I found also, let's say for dinner, like a lot of the nice guy tendency comes up like, oh, whatever you want to eat, and that's the worst answer you can give to your wife. Um, and in my opinion, that is a female answer, a woman answer, like whatever. I think we all know, like when you ask your girlfriend or wife, what do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want to eat? Like, that is the correct way should be okay. We have this option and this option. Which one? Then you discuss it. And obviously, if she has a recommendation, you consider it. Yeah, great. If you're happy with it, then you go do it. All right. So that's this one. So that's just like how we small examples of how we actually recreate the dynamics that we had from our families when we were growing up. It could either be you have like more in depth, like you have the ones people who overcorrect, whereas and they try to do everything opposite to what their family had or what their family dynamics, which essentially is the same thing, all stems from the same thing. So yeah, so that's this one. That's another one done. Oh, yeah, thanks for tuning in. I found this one very interesting. Thinking of ideas to put here, like, some examples of this in my life. It was pretty good. Um, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next one. Cheers.